Alright, starting the night off with a little electrical, pretty much done. Gotta buy a few more things, but here's our grid power to the light switches. Here's our DC power for backup lighting. Already ran the cords. That's our AC unit. Is going to be a 30 amp breaker all by itself. This is where the breaker box is going to go. It's a little bit of mess right here, but it's going to be fine. Got it all coming out, bundled up through. Here's where our vent hood and light is going to be for the cooking area. That is going to be a GFI plug, and I forgot to buy a GFI plug. That's why that's not done. Got it running down here to our, hopefully a fridge plug. I have a little extra wire on. It's not that big a deal. Not gonna hurt anything. So, especially if I have to redo it. So, going around to the first large light we're gonna have right there in the central area, right in the middle of the container. And then we're gonna have, there we go, plug on its own. Everything is on its own breaker except for the front two lights. The vent hood light and this light will be on this same switch. And then this right here is going to be, well, same switch and breaker, but this right here is going to have its own breaker and switch to this light in the very back. It's kind of hard to see, but I'm going to have it separate right here. And this plug is going to an inverter that is going to be underneath here with my backup power supply. So I have one plug of backup solar power and one string of backup lights on that same solar power system that is separate from the large scale system that I plan on doing. These are just little LED lights. I mean, you can turn them on with a 9-volt battery. They're not really taxing, so I feel like the small solar system that I have will be more than enough for this. I mean, I could use one panel and charge the battery I've got for this. It's not even a big battery, so this is not that big a deal. That plug will be the real deal, and it'll probably give me 15 to 30 minutes of power depending on the device I want to use off of that on one charge. Now that's just for like base emergency stuff, and I can make that much more on top of what I'm going to do with my big system. This is just for pure emergencies only, and I've already got the cord run for it, so it's not some thing that's going to be in the way if I want to turn it on. It's already built in as a redundancy. And this may not seem like a really big deal to most people, but it is a big deal to me because I've seen stuff break just magically or by neglect by most people, and I want to avoid that in my situation by just adding a little bit of redundancy that I've already spent the investment on because it's already hooked up in my apartment. So not a big deal, especially when it's not going to waste. And here is the plug for that. It's gonna just, well, if I can stop screwing up my phone. It's just gonna lay straight up underneath the panel, and this is where the flush metal is going to hook up to. So it's going to screw into here. So this is going to come out one of the corrugated sections, and it's going to be flush with, so I'm tripping. It's going to be flush over this metal right here. So the light strip is just going to lay flat along one of the corrugated sections all the way down on the same side as the electricals run, just to keep things simple and to keep things in line with the expansion. Because what I want to do is, if I expand this in any way, it's going to be cutting a hole right there in that metal plate so it's solid and secure, and then adding on down to my next project when I stack this container on top of another one. And if I don't do that, it is going to be cutting a hole about right here for a door for the second container to be beside it. So there's a lot of potential, a lot of things I could do, but for now, I think tomorrow's project, if I come out here tomorrow, will be get this composting toilet working. I mean, this is a tiny little composting toilet section, but I want it to be as small as possible for now, and we'll readjust that. It's to be decided. So, but here's a good cavity. I'm thinking I'm gonna put a tray drawer right here to hold the battery for this backup solar system, and probably upgrade the battery situation soon because the battery needs to be upgraded. I'd love to get a big deep cycle battery in there and have a ridiculous backup system. I want my backup system, like the redundant backup system, for this to be at least 2 or 3 hours of runtime on something like maybe a power outage, so I don't have to invest in a generator. I can just use the solar system that I have and just make it better. So 2 solar systems seems a little retarded to most people, but I don't really care because I've seen it work in the past, and it works regardless of your fuel source. And even with the low light situation, it's kind of only temporary, but that's, you know, that's what you get when you have a solar system in East Texas. You don't get full sun all the time, and that's perfectly acceptable. I mean, you're getting what you paid for. Open the freaking door, you know, it's not that big a deal. So I mean, it's, especially in the wintertime, you don't even have to run your AC, so it's perfect conditions for the most part. So, but that's it. I mean, we're gonna probably do full grid electric. I'm probably gonna get my breaker box in probably next week, depending on what I'm gonna get. I'm probably gonna have to reinforce that area with some more wood before I go to panel for sure. I want to throw a couple more 2x4s in there for structural stability on that, because I'm gonna be screwing the crap out of that breaker box. And hopefully get a 200 amp breaker box, but we'll have to see, because I want to hook it up to an RV hookup. So I have several different types, and basically what that's going to allow me to do is attach a generator to that RV hookup and then run it off a generator like full time if I need to. So I got several in power sources, so I'm not just fixing myself to the grid at one point in time. I mean, I don't really care about like off grid, on grid. I want this to be solid as a rock and movable to a different location and be able to hook up to like at least 2 different power sources at any given time, whichever one's available. You know, I don't want to be just stuck to that and be like, oh, we can only hook up a generator here. It's like, oh, that's a problem. We have to rewire the whole thing. Well, it's already wired for that. So, you know, that's where I'm spending a little extra money that I probably shouldn't be, but it's, you know, it's my freaking house. So, all right, that's a little update. The flooring is a little shiny. Of course, this is just the standard floor panel that it comes with, and all I did, I coated it one time with a boat sealant. It's just a wood sealer, but it's specifically made for marine stuff. So I'm probably gonna have to come in here with another 1 or 2 more coats just to make it look good. I may have to even sand it down off the initial coat because there's some roughness from where I was stepping in, which is fine, because the main thing I wanted to get was the off-gassing. Apparently these containers off-gas the chemical that's put in the wood to keep it from rotting and also to keep it from absorbing the chemicals they may be hauling in any of these. And I don't have a bill of lading for what was hauled in this, like, ever. So I want to just seal the crap out of this floor. And I've done a really good job underneath the bathroom area, and that took the majority of my stain that I had. And I kind of thinned it out as far as we go back. Of course, in the back it's just a big metal plate, but I've got it all pretty much one thin coat. I wanted to get another 2 or 3 coats and that's probably just gonna be my flooring. You know, just whether it looks like junk or not, I honestly don't care, because I'm gonna be walking in here with my shoes on. I'm not a normal human being. I don't like walking around barefoot, so that's it.